What does it mean to be our most electrifying TV star of 2022?
You know, it is such an honor. I know there are many electrifying stars that grace the cover of Us, so I feel that much more pleased to be included. It's really great for me just because, like, you know, I definitely struggle with like self-doubt at times, like many artists and like many people. So that sort of vote of confidence is really, really a nice thing.
Definitely. Well, you deserve it. I mean, what does electrifying mean to you?
You know, I think it just means like stand out and surprising, which I certainly was surprised at my journey as an actor, my very short and new journey in this space. So yeah, I think it's kind of just like a fun, shocking, new feeling.
Right. I mean, like you said, I mean, playing Ava in Hacks was pretty much your first real acting job. A few Emmy nominations later, I mean, how do you learn to be so confident when it comes to acting and stand-up? And does that just come naturally to you?
You know, there are so many people around me within Hacks and within the writer's room and people on set, members of the crew, people who make me feel at ease every day when I go to work. And that's really helpful because when I'm left to my own devices, I can kind of get in my head about my work. And I think there's sort of the dichotomy for me between acting and stand-up. Stand-up, I feel a lot more confident in just because of the years that I've spent, like going up every night and developing my own material. And there's something about writing for yourself that is a little more secure because you know the intent, you know how it's meant to be done. The only person you can really, whose expectations you can really meet is yourself. So that's a little less pressure. As opposed to an environment where, like, you know, you're trusted with someone's story and there are all these people working really hard and they depend on you. So feeling that confidence is really, I think, for me, for the most part, sort of dependent on the folks around me. And I got so lucky on Hacks to have so many incredible, lovely, supportive folks that kind of lift me up in that way.
Definitely. I mean, you know, I found it so interesting when I read that you kind of beat yourself up during your performance of the first season. You're like, oh my God, they're going to fire me, which never. But like, was it during that season where you found your confidence as an actor?
Yeah, I think like the first season, I was just like kind of fish out of water, like very shocked. It all kind of happened very quickly. And I was just trying to like get through it and be passively good and kind of just like not get fired and replaced. But the second season, there was like a fan base and people who like lovingly reacted to sort of receive the show. And there's just gonna be like a different version of my sort of journey with the show as the seasons progress and keep going. But the second season was definitely, I felt like I was in a better place the second season just because of all of the like really lovely outpouring of critical support and the fans who were into the show. They very much like, I leaned on that a lot.
Well, how would you say your life has changed since the show?
You know, it has changed a little bit in that way. It's nice. People are usually really nice. Like that's the sort of good part about Hacks and the fan base that it has cultivated. Like, they are a group of people who are interested and love a story about women in comedy and queer people. And it's cultivated a group of people who I think are really cool and sweet and respectful. And so, you know, almost all of my interactions are super fun and lovely, and people are just so nice. And I know what it's like to be a fan of a person, of a show, of, you know, so I feel them and I appreciate them a lot.
Definitely. You know, a comedy means so many things for so many different people, but what makes comedy great for you?
I think it's a great way to process life. I think there's so much darkness in the world. And I think that any sort of brief relief for people is a coping mechanism and a way to get through it. I think that, you know, it's like one of my, especially performing live, like it's the best thing I can ever hear for someone is that they were having a bad day and they needed to laugh. Like, honestly, it's kind of corny, but that's like the purpose of my job. It is the best thing I can ever do with my time on earth, I think.